Hi, I'm Tori, and I am a teen with Crohn's. Yay! Horrible disease, but I'm getting through it. Um, I just like to say that I want to do videos to help others understand what Crohn's is and to advocate and show my journey as a teen. Well, won't be a teen soon, but as a student and hopefully a nursing student in 2 years. I just want to do it. And I've noticed that because I have a blog that I started this year about Crohn's, about my journey with Crohn's called The Chronicles, that every time I talk about it, that I share my feelings about it, that I feel much, much better about it. Because not many people know that about Crohn's and ulcerative colitis. And I just want to make sure that everybody knows that it's not the shitty disease. It's much more, and it's, even though mine is mild and I just got diagnosed, that it's affected me and it's going to affect me for the rest of my life, so why not talk about it? So I'd like to start off as this is my first, talk about my story about my diagnosis. So it all started in December 2017, so last year. I've had some GI problems like over the years, but it wasn't as bad as December. So I was just going through after Christmas and whatnot. I didn't think about it. But I started having diarrhea and I thought it was just a bad week for me. Like I ate something wrong or I had like the stomach flu or something like that. So I didn't really think of it as being major. And then I started having blood in my stool, and that's when I told my mom that, oh, I have blood in my stool and diarrhea. She was like, we're going to go to urgent care, check it out. And so we went, and they said maybe it's just constipation. My aunt on my mom's side has ulcerative colitis, a really bad one. And my mom was worried that I would have ulcerative colitis too because IBD is hereditary, and my mom's side is like they all have autoimmune problems. Even my sister, I think she has asthma, so I think it's autoimmune. But anyways, yeah, my mom's side's just riddled with autoimmune problems. So the first thought was, oh, do I have UC? And I was like, maybe, but the doctor was like, no. There would be like a small possibility, but there's other things that are gonna be more likely. So they sent me home and they told me if you're not better by the end of the week, go to your primary care physician and we'll go from there. So the week went by and I started having constipation instead of diarrhea, which I'm like, like, yeah. So I went back to my primary care physician and she was like, okay, we're just going to do a stool sample. We're going to check out your hemorrhoids that you had, which I started having. And so she saw that it was like a pretty long one. She said it was like a spaghetti, I guess, but who cares about that? But so she prescribed me stool softeners because she thought it was just constipation, like really bad constipation, because I have constipation. So she prescribed me that, and then she said, we're going to call you in a few days when your labs come back. And then I got the call, and they were like, yeah, you have blood in your stool. So she was like, I'm going to refer you to a GI, and we're going to go from there. And I was like, oh, shoot. I'm probably going to get a colonoscopy. Yeah, that's going to be fun. 17-year-old getting a freaking colonoscopy. Yeah. So I went to my GI and he was like, just to make sure, we are going to do a colonoscopy because we don't know what's going on with you. And if it is IBD because of your history, we just want to make sure that it isn't. We're trying to rule it out. So the day comes, or the day before, and they give me the laxative, which I freaking hate, because they didn't give me the freaking flavoring. And even though I put, I can't remember the name of it, but it's like the powdered thing that turns your water into lemonade or whatever. I can't remember. But yeah, that did not help. I got through half of what I needed to drink that day, and it did not want to go down. It was hard because I don't drink much water by myself, so my body is like, nope, too much water. And I was constipated at that point, so it wasn't going to go down until an hour after I finished the half gallon. And so I somehow finished it, and then blah, blah, blah. Next morning, I'm like really hungry, and we put the lemonade thing, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is fine. I can do this. Not like last night, which it was like salt water at first, which I thought it was fine, and then I was like, wow. But anyways, so the day comes, and my mom got me this good old sandwich from Whole Foods, I think, somewhere in Bellevue. It's like right across from where I had my, where I go for my GI. So, we go in, and I'm like deathly afraid of needles. Now I'm not, even though I'm deathly afraid of like vaccines into my, into the muscle, intramuscular. Gotta love medical terms because I'm gonna become a nurse, hopefully. So anyways, I'm still deathly afraid of needles, but I had my first conscious IV the time we went to urgent care where I was like dehydrated. So I was kind of afraid of an IV at that point, but then it was like, okay, that was fine. And so they go over what they're gonna do, and then they sedate me, and I wake up halfway through, and that was when they reached my small intestine, the ileum, and they saw inflammation and redness, and yeah. So I was like, oh shoot, I probably have Crohn's. And so I was groggy at that point, so I was like, that don't look right. So I wasn't thinking that was Crohn's until after, when I got a little like less groggy, which I wasn't really groggy after the procedure, which was like, okay, because okay, I'll tell you later. But so then they start retracting the scope, and they see another patch of redness and inflammation, and I was like, oh shoot. Now I know that it's Crohn's, because Crohn's is like, it shows up in patches, not like colitis where it starts at the rectum and then it slowly makes its way to the ileum and whatnot. So it never like stops and goes into patches. So that's like the major difference of Crohn's and colitis, that one, it affects the small intestine, or one, it affects the from the mouth to the rectum and whatnot for Crohn's, and then colitis is just the colon. But yeah, so I knew that I had Crohn's at that point. After the procedure, I wasn't groggy that much, and I wanted to stand up, but my mom and the nurse was like, no, don't worry, lay down for a little bit of rest. And I was like, no, I want my sandwich. So we go home, the doctor calls me a couple of days later, and he confirms that I have Crohn's. So then he goes over the steps, and at that point I wasn't in much pain, so He was gonna start me on the prednisone, but I wasn't that bad, and I was like, it's not that bad. So he was like, okay, we're just gonna put you on azathioprine, which is what they normally put people on if you have mild to moderate Crohn's, which mine was really mild at that point. So 2 weeks later, and I have school. It was a Thursday and Friday. So the whole day I felt fine. I didn't seem like I was gonna go into a flare up, I guess you can call it. But during fourth period, I started having really bad stomach pain, and I thought I was really hungry because I got really hungry because we had third lunch, which is like 11:40. It was the lunchtime. So I thought I was really hungry because I forgot my snack. And so I go to lunch, and then I felt so nauseous that I could not eat my sandwich. And so I was like, I'm gonna go to the nurse. I go to the nurse, I call home, I go home. I am in so much pain, the worst pain I've ever felt. And so my mom comes home, she says, put on a heating pad and we're gonna call the doctor. Call the doctor and he doesn't respond. So I go to sleep, and when I wake up, I feel normal like the day before. And again, fourth period at 10:30, I think, I started having the same exact pain. And I was like, oh shoot, not it again. So I go home and we call the doctor again. And he says, stop the azathioprine, see how you do tomorrow, and we'll go from there. I don't take it that Saturday morning, and I feel fine. So I call back, and he's like, okay, maybe it's the azathioprine. We're going to put you on a new medication, like Lialda. Oh my gosh. Lialda isn't one that you use with a Crohn's patient because it's not that effective in most people. But yeah, it's 2 months in since I started, and I've been feeling fine except for the past like few days. And so he was like, okay, if you don't feel fine in 2 weeks, call me and we will try a new thing. 2 weeks come by and I got sick, so it always seems like whenever I get sick or I'm on my period that my Crohn's flares up. And so that's when I know, like, oh shoot, I'm gonna be in pain. Oh shoot, I'm gonna have constipation. No, I have normal constipation, but I'm gonna have a flare up. So I got sick and whatnot. And with Crohn's, you kind of get sick easier, even though if you're not on an immunosuppressant. And I got like effed lungs too. So if I have like someone smoking, which was like the major cause of me in like, I think it was a lung infection or whatever. But I was in Spain at that time, so I had to fly home in that. And I got better once I got home. But like in Spain, there's so many smokers. Anyways, back to the point. 2 weeks go by and I feel fine. And so it wasn't until yesterday, November 1st, that I had a really bad flare. So on Saturday, I went to a college fair because I'm a senior. Yay, senior season. And so I had a chocolate chip frappuccino, which is my favorite from Starbucks, but now I know that I can't have it. I'm so sad. But I had it, and I was taking the link rail into Seattle because it was at the University of Washington. And so throughout the day, I had to go to the bathroom so many times. But yeah, I had constipation and I had really bad hemorrhoids too, which I still have. It's horrible, but anyways, I noticed that I started, so I was like, oh shoot, now I know why. So it's been 6 days, and I knew that my period had started or stopped, but I still noticed that there was blood in the frickin' toilet. And so yesterday, I had TOK in the morning, so at 6:40 I had my class. And then I went to the bathroom and I noticed that there was a lot of blood, and I knew that my period had stopped. And I noticed there was blood in the stool itself, so I knew that the blood was from my colon. And so and then afterwards I felt super fatigued. Like I couldn't do anything. Like we were working on a project and I was trying to not fall asleep. It wasn't that I was tired, but I was like exhausted. Like I just wanted to lay down and do nothing. So I go to first period, and my teacher, she was like, Tori, are you okay? Are you tired? I'm like, no, I have Crohn's. So, and I've been feeling fatigued the whole day. And she was like, okay, I'm just going to write you a note to the nurse. So I go home and whatnot, and I felt better as I laid down in bed the whole day. My dad got mad at me for not cleaning up my room, but I felt better. But still, I called my doctor to let him know, because you gotta let your doctor know everything. And he was like, okay, so blood in your stool and a lot of blood in your toilet and you're feeling really fatigued, that isn't good. So what was it? So he was like, I'm gonna put you on prednisone. Today's the first day I'm taking it, so hopefully it helps. Hopefully. But yeah, that's my story. So if you'd like to learn more about Crohn's and my journey with Crohn's, my accomplishments, just stay tuned. Subscribe. Like this video. Thank you. Bye.